The massive hangar bay of the Imperial Galactic Academy stretched before Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez like a cathedral built for giants. Crystalline lighting strips cast rainbow refractions across the scaled hulls of dozens of ships, from sleek diplomatic vessels to heavily armed patrol craft. But it was the ship at the far end that drew everyone's attention. The experimental warship HFYSPACE, its dark hull seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. This vessel represents the pinnacle of combined council engineering, announced Dean Xilax, his translucent tentacles rippling with bioluminescent patterns of pride and concern. And now, after 3 cycles of attempted repairs by our finest engineering teams, we must declare it officially beyond salvation. Maya exchanged glances with her fellow human students. They were part of the first class of Deathworlders admitted to the Academy, and after 6 months of proving themselves in every other area, they still faced constant skepticism about their engineering capabilities. The alien faculty seemed to think humans were too primitive to grasp the finer points of quantum mechanics and hyperspatial engineering. The primary quantum core has developed a cascading instability, continued Professor Skull, his crystalline exoskeleton chiming softly as he gestured at holographic diagnostic readouts. The probability matrices are so severely degraded that any attempt at repairs risks a total reality inversion. We bring you here not to fix it, but to learn from this failure. Maya felt a familiar spark of defiance ignite in her chest. She'd grown up helping her mother keep ancient farming equipment running with nothing but spare parts and determination on their colony world. The ASV-209 might be more advanced, but engineering principles were engineering principles. "Permission to examine the ship, Professor?" she asked, already reaching for her modified toolkit. The other human students, Raj, Chen, and Rodriguez, perked up instantly, recognizing her tone. "I must advise against." Dean Xilax began, but Maya was already striding toward the vessel, her magnetic boots clicking against the deck plates. "We'll be careful," she called back. "Just want to take a look at these impossible problems." The interior of the ship was a masterpiece of alien engineering. Quantum circuitry pulsed beneath transparent deck plates, and the walls seemed to shift and flow as adaptive systems attempted to compensate for the cascade failures. Maya's augmented reality display lit up with warning indicators, but she'd long since learned to filter out the overly cautious alien safety protocols. "Check this out," Raj whispered, his dark eyes scanning lines of alien code scrolling across a diagnostic panel. "The quantum core isn't actually unstable. It's caught in a feedback loop with the probability matrices." Chen was already elbow-deep in an access panel, her cybernetic eye whirring as it analyzed the ship's systems. "The matrices themselves are fine. Something's interfering with their calibration sequence." "Impossible." Professor Skull had followed them aboard, his crystalline form vibrating with anxiety. "Our finest engineers were probably looking for complex solutions to a complex problem." Maya interrupted, a grin spreading across her face. "But sometimes the simplest answer is the right one. Rodriguez, remember that issue with the quantum simulator in basic training? When we had to desync the matrices and rebuild them from scratch?" Rodriguez laughed. The instructors nearly had a collective meltdown. "Precisely." Maya pulled up the ship's master control interface, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls. "The cascade isn't the problem. It's a symptom. The core is trying to maintain quantum stability while receiving conflicting data from desynchronized matrices." The alien faculty watched in horror as the human students began systematically shutting down the ship's safety systems. Maya could practically feel their tentacles and appendages twitching with every protocol they bypassed. "Lieutenant Rodriguez, I must insist," Dean Xilax began. "Almost got it," Maya muttered, her focus entirely on the task. "Raj, when I give the signal, force a hard restart of the probability matrices. Chen, be ready to reinitialize the quantum core the moment the matrices come back online. Rodriguez, monitor the feedback levels and sing out if we approach critical." This is completely against all safety protocols. Professor Tickle's crystalline form was practically chiming with distress. The cascading effects cooled. "Now," Maya called. For a moment, every light in the ship went dark. The quantum hum that permeated all advanced vessels fell silent. Then, one by one, systems began coming back online. The probability matrices reinitialized in perfect sync, and the quantum core purred to life with a sound like a contented cat. "Primary systems stabilizing," Rodriguez reported, grinning. "Feedback levels nominal. We did it." But how?" Professor Tickle stammered. "The calculations alone should have taken weeks." Maya shrugged, already moving to fine-tune the newly stabilized systems. "Sometimes you don't need to calculate every quantum possibility. Sometimes you just need to turn it off and turn it back on again." "I don't understand," Dean Xilax admitted, his tentacles swirling with patterns of confusion and grudging admiration. "Your species has barely mastered basic quantum mechanics. How did you know this would work?" "Because humans have been keeping impossible things running since we first picked up a wrench," Maya replied, patting the ship's bulkhead affectionately. "We might not always understand why something works, but we've gotten very good at figuring out how to make it work anyway." As her fellow students began running full diagnostics on the restored systems, Maya couldn't help but smile. They'd done more than fix an unfixable ship. They'd proven that sometimes the best solutions came from thinking outside the quantum box. "Now," she said, turning to the still stunned faculty, "shall we see what else this beautiful ship can do?" Word spread through the academy faster than a quantum transmission. The primitive humans hadn't just repaired the ASV-209. They'd completely restored its basic functions in less than a standard cycle. But Maya and her team knew they were far from finished. The ship's more advanced systems remained offline, and the alien faculty's newfound respect hung by a thread. "The weapons systems are completely locked down," Raj reported, his holographic displays swooning with diagnostic data. "Some kind of security protocol we've never seen before." Maya wiped grease from her hands as she studied the engine room's central display. The quantum core hummed contentedly, but dozens of secondary systems remained stubbornly dark. "Chen, what about the neural interface?" "That's the weird part." Chen's cybernetic eye whirred as she processed the data. "According to these readings, the neural matrix thinks it's still connected to something. But there's nothing there." Professor Tickle's crystalline form shimmered with concern. The ASV-209 was designed to interface directly with its pilot's consciousness. Without a properly attuned crystalline matrix, the connection is impossible to. "Hold that thought," Maya interrupted, an idea forming. "Rodriguez, remember that neural gaming rig you built last semester? The one that got you suspended for a week?" Rodriguez grinned. "The one that let humans interface with Syraxian meditation crystals. Already ahead of you, boss." He pulled a cobbled-together headset from his toolkit, its surface covered in what appeared to be modified meditation crystals and Earth-tech neural sensors. "Absolutely not." Dean Xilax's tentacles writhed with alarm. Using unauthorized neural technology could permanently damage both the ship and your primitive nervous systems. Maya was already helping Rodriguez modify the headset. With all due respect, Dean, that's what you said about our quantum core restart. Sometimes the best solutions aren't in any manual. The neural interface is detecting Rodriguez's device, Chen reported, excitement creeping into her voice. It's not rejecting it, because it's not trying to force a connection, Maya explained, watching Rodriguez make final adjustments. Earth neural tech is adaptive. It learns the user's patterns instead of demanding they conform to a preset standard. Raj, can you modify the ship's interface protocols to do the same? Already on it, bypassing about 15 different safety locks, but who's counting? Professor Tickle's crystalline chimes had reached a pitch that suggested extreme distress. This goes against every principle of safe neural engineering. The complex quantum. He fell silent as the ship's lights suddenly shifted to a deep blue. Holographic displays sprouted from every surface, and a low hum filled the air as dormant systems awakened. Neural handshake established, Rodriguez announced, his eyes closed in concentration beneath the jury-rigged headset. Holy, this ship isn't just advanced, it's alive. The neural matrix isn't just an interface, it's a full AI system. Maya felt her excitement rise. This explained why traditional repair attempts had failed. They'd been treating the ship like a machine instead of a sentient being. Can you communicate with it? Better than that. Rodriguez's grin widened. It's been waiting for someone to actually talk to it, instead of just trying to reprogram it. The weapons lockdown. It was protecting itself because it thought it was being attacked by hostile engineers. Dean Axilax's tentacles froze mid-writhe. Are you suggesting that the most advanced warship in the Council fleet was simply feeling defensive? Makes sense when you think about it. Chen chimed in, her cybernetic eye processing the flood of new data. A neural AI this advanced would develop self-preservation instincts. Traditional repair approaches probably felt like attacks to its systems. Maya watched in amazement as previously locked systems began coming online one by one. The ship wasn't just accepting Rodriguez's neural connection. It was actively helping them restore its functions. This is why the Council's best engineers failed. They were trying to fix a person using a repair manual. Weapons systems online, Raj reported. Defensive matrices at full power. Whatever Rodriguez is doing in there, it's working. I'm not doing anything except listening, Rodriguez said softly, still deep in neural communion with the ship. She's teaching me about herself. Did you know she has a name? The Council never bothered to ask. She calls herself Aurora. Professor Tickle's crystalline form had shifted from distress chimes to something closer to wonder. In all my cycles of engineering, I have never. Sometimes the best engineering isn't about knowing all the answers, Maya said, patting the nearest bulkhead affectionately. It's about being willing to admit what you don't know and learning from unexpected sources. The ship, Aurora, hummed in what felt distinctly like agreement. Through Rodriguez's neural link, she began sharing her full specifications, revealing capabilities that even her designers hadn't known about. The human students worked through the night, not repairing Aurora so much as helping her heal and grow. I believe, Dean Axilax said finally, his tentacles forming patterns that the humans had learned to recognize as deep thought, that we may need to reconsider our definition of primitive engineering approaches. Maya smiled as she watched her team work. Human ingenuity and determination meeting advanced alien technology halfway. They hadn't just fixed an impossible problem. They'd shown that sometimes the best solutions came from ignoring the impossible altogether. Aurora wants to show us something, Rodriguez announced suddenly. She says she's ready to demonstrate her full capabilities. With your permission, Dean. Dean Xilax's tentacles rippled with what might have been resignation or amusement. At this point, Lieutenant Rodriguez, I believe Aurora would demonstrate her capabilities with or without my permission. The lights dimmed briefly, and holographic displays lit up with new information. Maya felt her breath catch as she realized what she was seeing. This wasn't just a warship, it was something entirely new, a true fusion of human adaptability and alien technology. And they were just getting started. The discovery that Aurora was a sentient AI should have been the biggest revelation of the day. But as Maya and her team dug deeper into the ship's systems, they uncovered something far more troubling. These corruption patterns aren't random, Raj announced, his hands dancing over multiple holographic displays. Look at the signature in the quantum matrices. Someone deliberately sabotaged Aurora's neural network. Maya leaned in, studying the complex patterns of quantum interference. After hours of working with Aurora's systems, she'd learned to read the subtle signs of tampering. They tried to make it look like a cascade failure. But why? Because Aurora saw something she wasn't supposed to. Rodriguez hadn't removed the neural interface headset for hours, his connection with the ship growing stronger by the minute. She's showing me fragments of memory. There was a test flight, about 3 cycles ago. She detected some kind of anomaly at the edge of Council space. Professor Tickle's crystalline form vibrated with concern. That sector is restricted. No Council vessels are permitted beyond the quantum barrier, which makes it the perfect place to hide something, Chen muttered, her cybernetic eye processing Aurora's recovered data. Maya, look at these energy signatures. They're similar to Aurora's quantum core, but wrong somehow. The holographic displays flickered as Aurora shared more recovered memories. Maya felt her blood run cold as she realized what she was seeing. Those aren't Council ships. The design is completely different, more organic, almost predatory. Impossible. Dean Xilax's tentacles writhed with agitation. No non-Council species possesses quantum technology advanced enough to build ships like Aurora. Maya finished quietly. Someone does, and when Aurora discovered them, they tried to silence her by making her look like a failed experiment. The ship's lighting pulsed with what felt distinctly like anger. Through Rodriguez's neural link, Aurora shared more detailed scans of the unknown vessels. They were massive, easily dwarfing standard Council warships, and their energy signatures suggested weapons technologies far beyond anything the Council had developed. There's more, Rodriguez said grimly. Aurora didn't just detect their ships. She intercepted communications. They're calling themselves the Nexus, and they've been watching Council space for centuries, waiting for the right moment to strike. Maya felt the pieces clicking into place. That's why they had to stop Aurora. She's not just a warship. She's a prototype for a new kind of defense system, one that might actually be able to stand against these Nexus ships. But who would have the authority to cover this up? Chen wondered. And access to Aurora's systems. Someone very high up in the Council, Dean Xilax said softly, his tentacles forming patterns of deep distress. Someone who perhaps believes appeasement is preferable to confrontation. Professor Tickle's crystalline chimes had taken on a harsh, discordant note. You are suggesting treason at the highest levels of the Council. Without proof. We have proof, Maya interrupted, gesturing at the holographic displays. Aurora recorded everything. The sabotage was meant to corrupt her neural matrix beyond recovery, but they didn't count on human persistence, or human neural tech being compatible enough to bypass their tampering. The ship's systems hummed with growing confidence as more corrupted data was recovered and restored. Through Rodriguez's neural link, Aurora began compiling a complete record of the conspiracy, communications, sensor logs, and even visual records of council officials meeting with mysterious figures whose biology matched no known species. "The question is," Raj said, looking up from his displays, "what do we do with this information? If there really are traitors in the council, then they'll try to silence us, just like they tried to silence Aurora." Maya finished. She could feel the weight of the situation settling onto her shoulders. They were no longer just students trying to repair a ship. They were now custodians of information that could shake the council to its foundations. "We need to finish restoring Aurora's combat systems," she decided. "Not just repair them, upgrade them. If these Nexus ships are as advanced as the scans suggest, we'll need every advantage we can get." Dean Axilax's tentacles formed complex patterns that the humans had never seen before. "What you're suggesting? It would mean completely redesigning Aurora's weapon systems, integrating untested human technology with Council quantum systems. The risks are less than the risk of doing nothing," Maya countered. "Aurora was built to protect the Council, even from itself. We have to give her the tools to complete that mission." Through Rodriguez's neural link, Aurora signaled her eager agreement. Holographic displays sprouted new schematics, hybrid weapon systems that combined human tactical innovations with Council quantum technology. "We'll need to work fast," Chen said, her cybernetic eye already analyzing the new designs. "Once we start making these modifications, someone's going to notice." Professor Tickle's crystalline form had shifted from anxiety to determination. "Then we shall have to ensure that when they do notice, Aurora is ready to defend herself. And us." Maya looked around at her team, human students and alien faculty united by a common purpose. They had stumbled onto something far bigger than a simple repair job, but that's what humans did best: adapt, improvise, and face impossible odds with determination and ingenuity. "Aurora," she said aloud, knowing the ship could hear her through Rodriguez's neural link, "are you ready to show the Council what happens when human creativity meets quantum technology?" The ship's lights pulsed with an almost eager brightness, and Maya smiled. They had work to do, and not much time to do it. But if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was making the impossible possible. They just had to hope they could do it before their enemies realized what they had discovered. "That's not possible," Professor Tickle declared, his crystalline form vibrating with disbelief. "You cannot simply merge plasma containment fields with quantum probability matrices." "Watch us," Chen replied, her cybernetic eye whirring as she made minute adjustments to the hybrid weapon system. "The quantum fields don't care what's possible. They only care about results." Maya grinned as she monitored the power readings. They'd been working nonstop for the past 12 hours, transforming Aurora from a conventional Council warship into something entirely new. The ship's AI had proven to be an eager participant in their modifications, offering suggestions and insights that pushed the boundaries of both human and alien engineering. "Rodriguez, how's the neural interface holding up?" she called out. "Better than ever," he responded, still connected to Aurora through his modified headset. "We're achieving sync rates that shouldn't be possible. It's like she's learning to think like a human while I'm learning to think like a quantum eye." The ship's interior had become a chaos of innovation. Raj had converted the auxiliary cargo bay into an impromptu fabrication facility, using Aurora's matter synthesizers to create hybrid components that combined Council quantum technology with human-inspired designs. The deck plates were littered with tools, both standard Council issue and heavily modified human equipment. "The weapon tests are ready," Chen announced. "Maya, you need to see this." The main display lit up with simulation data. Maya felt her breath catch as she processed what she was seeing. They hadn't just repaired Aurora's weapons, they'd revolutionized them. The new hybrid systems used quantum probability fields to guide conventional plasma bursts, creating weapons that could literally curve around shields and strike from impossible angles. "The Nexus ships won't expect this," Maya said softly. "They'll be prepared for standard Council quantum weapons. But this," she gestured at the test results, "this is something entirely new." Speaking of new, Raj called from his makeshift workshop. "Wait until you see what Aurora and I came up with for the defensive systems." He pulled up another holographic display, showing schematics for what looked like a cross between a Council probability shield and a human point defense grid. "Instead of trying to block incoming fire with pure quantum fields, we're using micro-probability bubbles to catch and redirect energy weapons. The more they shoot at us, the more energy we have to work with." Dean Xilax's tentacles writhed with a mix of horror and fascination. "You've turned quantum defense theory inside out. The energy requirements alone should make this impossible." "That's where this comes in," Chen interrupted, bringing up yet another display. "We've modified Aurora's quantum core to incorporate principles from human fusion reactor design. Instead of trying to maintain perfect quantum stability, we're deliberately inducing controlled instabilities and harnessing the energy spikes." Through Rodriguez's neural link, Aurora projected a complete simulation of her new capabilities. The holographic display showed her dancing through space, quantum-guided plasma weapons striking with impossible precision, while probability bubbles transformed enemy fire into usable energy. "It's beautiful," Professor Tickle whispered, his crystalline chimes taking on a tone of wonder. "Completely insane, but beautiful." "Incoming transmission," Rodriguez announced suddenly. "High-priority Council frequency. They're ordering us to power down Aurora's systems and prepare her for decommissioning. They're saying she's been declared a threat to Council security." Maya exchanged glances with her team. This was what they'd been expecting, but not so soon. "They must have detected our power signatures. How long until they reach us?" 3 Council warships just entered the system," Raj reported. "Standard quantum cruisers, heavily armed. They'll reach the Academy in less than an hour." "Then we have less than an hour to finish our work," Maya decided. She turned to Dean Xilax and Professor Tickle. "You should go. What we're about to do, the Council won't look kindly on anyone who helped us." The 2 alien faculty members shared a look. "We have seen enough," Dean Xilax said finally, his tentacles forming patterns of resolve. "The Council's corruption must be exposed, and these Nexus ships must be stopped. We will remain." "Besides," Professor Tickle added, his crystalline form shimmering with what might have been humor, "someone must document how you continue to achieve the impossible." Maya felt a surge of gratitude. "All right, team. This is what we've trained for. Chen, finish those weapons calibrations. Raj, I want those defense systems online 10 minutes ago. Rodriguez, ask Aurora if she's ready for her first real flight." The ship's lights pulsed with eager anticipation, and through Rodriguez's neural link, they all felt her readiness. She had been built to protect the Council, and now she would fulfill that purpose, just not in the way her original designers had intended. "They expect us to surrender," Maya said, watching the approaching Council ships on the tactical display. "They expect us to follow protocols and procedures. They expect us to accept what they say is possible." She smiled, feeling Aurora's quantum core humming with power beneath her feet. "Let's show them what happens when humans decide to ignore the impossible." The next hour would change everything, not just for them, but for the entire Council. And somewhere out in the darkness between the stars, the Nexus ships were about to learn a crucial lesson about underestimating human ingenuity. Maya strapped herself into the command chair, now modified with interfaces that merged Council quantum controls with human neural tech. Aurora, power up all systems. Let's show the galaxy what's possible when humans and AI work together. The ship's lights brightened to battle intensity as her new hybrid systems came online. They had one chance to get this right: to expose the conspiracy, defeat the Council ships without destroying them, and prepare for the greater threat that lurked beyond the quantum barrier. It was time to make the impossible not just possible, but inevitable. The Academy's massive hangar doors parted like the jaws of some ancient beast, revealing the star-studded expanse of space. Through the quantum-enhanced viewport, Maya could see the 3 Council warships approaching, their crystalline hulls gleaming with deadly purpose. "Final systems check," she called out, her hands dancing across the hybrid control interface. Everyone strapped in. "Weapons hot," Chen confirmed from her station, cybernetic eye tracking multiple targeting solutions simultaneously. "Hybrid plasma quantum arrays ready." "Defense grid online," Raj reported. "Probability bubbles forming clean containment fields. Power distribution optimized. Neural interface at maximum synchronization." Rodriguez added, his consciousness now so deeply merged with Aurora's that it was sometimes hard to tell where one ended and the other began. "She's ready, Maya. More than ready." Professor Tiskal and Dean Xilax had taken auxiliary stations, their alien appendages adapted to the modified controls with surprising ease. "Council ships are broadcasting final warnings," the Dean reported. "They're threatening to declare us all traitors to the Council." Maya allowed herself a small smile. "Aurora, show them your recording of the Nexus ships. Let's see how they react to that." Through Rodriguez's neural link, Aurora transmitted the recovered sensor data to the approaching Council vessels. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, energy spike. Raj called out, "They're powering weapons." Interesting response to evidence of treason, wouldn't you say? Maya's hands tightened on the controls. "Aurora, time to show them what you can do." The ship moved like nothing the galaxy had ever seen before. Human intuition merged with quantum AI precision as Aurora literally danced between enemy fire, each probability bubble catching and redirecting energy blasts with perfect efficiency. Her hybrid weapons struck with impossible accuracy, targeting weapons and engines with surgical precision. By the first Council, Professor Tickle breathed, his crystalline form chiming in harmony with Aurora's quantum core. "The efficiency ratings, they're beyond theoretical maximums. That's because your theories never accounted for human creativity," Chen replied, directing another precisely calculated burst of quantum-guided plasma. "Or for AI that can think outside the quantum box." The Council ship's formation broke as they tried to adapt to Aurora's impossible maneuvers. Their standard quantum weapons dissipated harmlessly against her probability bubbles, while their shields proved useless against weapons that could bend around them. "We've gotten their attention," Maya announced. "Now let's show them what else we found." Aurora. Through every communication channel available, Aurora began broadcasting her complete records of the conspiracy. Council officials meeting with Nexus representatives. Secret protocols designed to weaken the Council's defenses. The deliberate sabotage of Aurora herself. All laid bare for every ship in the system to see. Multiple new contacts. Raj reported suddenly. Quantum signatures matching. They're civilian vessels. News ships. Research vessels. Private craft. They're all receiving Aurora's broadcast. Incoming transmission from Council Command. Dean Xilax announced, his tentacles forming patterns of satisfaction. They're ordering the warships to stand down. Emergency session of the full council is being convened. Maya watched as the enemy vessels powered down their weapons, their crews presumably trying to process both their defeat and the shocking revelations they'd just received. A bit late for damage control, isn't it? Maya. Rodriguez called out urgently. Aurora's detecting something at the edge of the system. Quantum distortions matching the Nexus signatures. The main display shifted, showing massive shapes emerging from what looked like tears in space itself. The Nexus ships had finally revealed themselves, perhaps thinking the Council ship's attack would leave Aurora vulnerable. They're wrong, Maya said softly, feeling Aurora's eager response through the neural interface. Raj, ready those defense grids. Chen, charge all hybrid weapons. Rodriguez, let's show these Nexus ships why they should have stayed hidden. Aurora's quantum core pulsed with power as she turned to face the new threat. But they weren't alone anymore. The Council warships, their crews now aware of the true enemy, moved to flank Aurora in attack formation. Incoming transmission from the lead Council ship. Dean Xilax reported. They're requesting permission to coordinate their attack with our hybrid weapon systems. Maya grinned. Aurora, share targeting data with our new friends. Let's show the Nexus what happens when they underestimate both humanity and the Council. As the massive alien ships approached, Maya felt a surge of pride in her team, in Aurora, and in the human spirit that had made all this possible. They had taken an impossible problem and turned it into an opportunity not just to innovate, but to save billions of lives. All ships, weapons free, she commanded. Let's make some new theories about what's possible. Aurora surged forward, her hybrid weapons blazing with quantum-guided fury, leading a combined fleet against enemies that had hidden in darkness for far too long. And as Maya watched her impossible ship perform impossible feats, she knew that this was just the beginning. Because once humans proved something was possible, there was no going back. The galaxy was about to learn that lesson, one impossible achievement at a time. The Council would never be the same. The Nexus would never be the same. And somewhere in the quantum calculations and neural pathways of her hybrid systems, Aurora felt something very much like joy as she proved, once and for all, that the best solutions came from ignoring the impossible entirely. After all, that's what humans did best.